What's up, y'all? It's your boy Dontavius, aka DT, and today I'm going to teach you how to stop your glutes from hitting the bar. All right, so first off, we got to understand why this happens. So, this can happen for a multitude of reasons. But the first thing I can really say is one thing you have to understand about the high jump is the majority of everything that happens in the air is determined by the work you do on the ground. A better way to even say it is high jump itself is 90% the approach and 10% in the air. Okay, so if there's any problem that you're facing going over the bar, glutes coming down, all these different things, it can be solved on the ground. Okay, so let's go ahead and put that out there so you guys can understand that high jump is an approach focused event. And in the past, I've struggled over the top of the bar because my approach wasn't very good, but I didn't know, right? Because when we're younger, we're just told, well, you just got to get your hips up, got to get your butt up, get your glutes up, bend your back more. How do you do that? There's no way to just do that. You can't just do that. It doesn't happen. Guys, it happens in the approach. There are prerequisites that have to happen for you to be able to get your glutes up, for you to be able to do these different things. Now, there are slight mistakes or timing issues that you can make, and we're going to go over those. But when we're talking purely high jump, if your glutes hitting the bar, they just say you got to get your glutes up. You can't. It's not possible. It just doesn't happen that way. The body can only bend so much. The body can only get into a position so much. And that's why we use physics. High jump is physics, right? So whenever, you're facing an issue in the sport or in high jump or something over the bar, first thing you need to do is think about what am I doing on the ground? Where can I improve on the ground? Because learning how to approach will yield you the best results in the sport, right? So let's get into what could be happening with you. So one reason why your glutes are probably hitting the bar is because when you kick your legs, you end up coming out of the technique. And as soon as you start to kick your legs, your glutes drop down on the bar because your body you kind of collapse into your body. Like you bend this way, legs come up, glutes come down, right? So that tends to happen a lot. And that comes from athletes not understanding how to hold the position and kick their legs at the same time, right? So that's a skill that you're going to have to learn, right? That's also a timing thing. So not only do you have to learn how to hold that position, with your hips up longer and be able to kick your legs without barely dropping them, you also have to time it correctly and wait to do that kick when the glutes are already past the bar. Okay? So those are two things you can think about that you have to do. Like I said, you have to not only learn to hold the position and be able to hold it and kick at the same time, but you also have to learn how to time it correctly, wait on your glutes to pass the bar before you decide to go into kick. So that's a timing thing. Okay? And the way that we can practice this is a simple drill called the back over. So guys, I'm sure everyone's heard of the back over. If you haven't, all it takes is a quick search. You'll find what a back over is. You turn your back to the bar or bungee. I recommend practicing these without a bar or bungee to start and just jumping back onto the pit. So you literally stand with your back to the pit and you get close. You don't want to be far. And you jump right up and back, and you get into the position you would get into when you're jumping. So you want to jump straight up back, even throw your head back a little bit if you need to, and try to get into the rotation and hold those hips up and kick those legs and get used to that feeling and tuck the chin, before you land into the mat, of course, so we don't hurt ourselves there. So we want to jump straight up and back, tuck our chin before we hit the mat, and also we're getting rotation. We're getting our hips up. we're, squeezing and we're kicking our legs and we're getting that feeling. And what that's going to do is when we get into our full approach, when we get into running the full thing and we take off, our body is going to be more naturally ready to jump to fly into a rotation, right? And it's going to happen naturally because we mentally taught ourselves that it's okay to fall backwards. It's okay to, rotate. It's okay to do that. And we had to teach our body that. And you have to practice that, practice the backovers again and again and again, and just doing it so you can get comfortable. Because a lot of times with rotation, kids are just not comfortable. Athletes are just not comfortable. So doing a back over and getting used to falling backwards and falling back on your shoulders and rotating in the air, that's going to get you comfortable whenever we get ready to actually do it in a practice or in a competition when we run the full approach, right? So another issue that athletes tend to face, when talking about their glutes hitting the bar is they say, oh, well, my upper half got over, my back is way over, but my butt is still down. So basically they're jumping in a way where they're not completely upright, but basically their top half is higher than their lower half. So whenever they're trying to jump a bar, if this is the bar, they're trying to jump, and this is as much rotation as they get, and they're in this position trying to kick their legs over the bar. And that it doesn't work that way. Okay? So it just doesn't work that way. You can't just expect to be able to jump straight up and just be halfway rotated and just kick and clear it with your lower half down. Because you're giving away 3, 4, 5 inches with that. Okay, so what do we have to do? We have to learn where this causality is coming from. We have to find the prerequisite. We have to find the thing that caused this second order consequence. And what that one thing that's going to help you there is leaning in the curve. Okay, so when you're coming around in those last 4 to 5 steps, coming into the takeoff, having an inward lean position away from the bar as you're coming around, and then trying to take off in this inward lean position with a little bit of backwards, that's going to shoot you into rotation. Okay? To explain that again, when we're coming through our curve, we want our body leaned away from the bar. We want to really be working the curve, stepping on it, stepping, leaning away, and boom, taking off in this position almost and trying to jump straight up. And what that's going to do, guys, is if you're leaned away from the bar like this, and then when you go into takeoff, it's going to boom. It's going to shoot you into rotation over the bar like that. Okay? So that's what we're going for. So that will completely eliminate you having this issue of trying to run up, being straight up, and then boom, and trying to jump, and then this is as much rotation as you get. Instead, you run up, boom, lean away, boom, you rotate, spin all the way around, boom. That's how it's going to happen for you if you work on leaning in the curve. Okay, and you can practice that with drills like circle runs or, curve runs around the 50 meter or 100 meter. So circle runs, you just make your circle with some cones, or you don't even need cones. You could just run in the circle, work on leaning inward. Okay, so another issue is you're coming down on top of the bar. So you get the height, but you're coming down on top of the bar and your butt's hitting the bar and you're knocking it down, right? Okay, so the issue for this most times, well, pretty much every time, is the athlete doesn't have enough speed going that way, going the direction toward the pit. The athlete does not have enough speed, right? So when they jump up, they coming right down. They're not going anywhere. So that happens because a lot of times the athlete is slowing down going into the takeoff. When we're doing our high jump approach, we want to have a gradual increase the entire time. We don't ever want to be decelerating. All right. But a lot of times when athletes tend to come down, it's because what I call it, they're stumping on the brakes. That's when they start to slow down a little bit and prepare themselves for the jump. Because what athletes tend to think is, if I just, prepare myself for the jump, I'll jump better. If I just get ready, this is when I'm getting ready to power up and jump. That's not what the high jump is. High jump is an event where you will yield your best results by learning how to generate constant velocity throughout the approach. Because it's the transfer of energy. We want to be able to maintain speed the entire way, boom, and take off at our maximum speed. And when I say maximum speed, I'm not saying we want to just be full sprint, all out. What I'm saying is your fastest point of the approach should be at takeoff. No matter how slow you start, no matter how fast you start, your fastest point should be boom at takeoff and take off. Okay, so when you're able to maintain that velocity through that takeoff and through that curve, you're going to fly past the bar. Okay, you're going to go over, and that center of gravity is going to be there, but you're not going to boom and come straight down, and this has happened to me in the past a lot because I tend to power jump. And whenever I'm trying to clear a bar or a big bar, I start to slow down and boom, I get up really high, but boom, I come right back down on top of it and don't even get past it. So if you want to be able to jump efficiently and clear bars and not, come down right on top of it, you got to learn how to consistently go through the approach and boom, 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 and take off without decreasing that speed. Because if you don't, there's going to be a limit. There's going to be a peak as to the height of bars you can jump, because you're going to need to maintain your speed to get past. It don't matter how high you can go up if you can't go past, right? So another issue that athletes tend to face when their butt is hitting the bar, they say, well, I'm arching over the bar good, I'm bending my back, but my butt keeps hitting it, right? So when we think about the concept of high jump, a misconception, a very big misconception, is that you have to bend your back and arch over the bar. That's not true at all. That's false. That's a false narrative, right? High jump is not about who can bend their back the best. Now, you will see, high school athletes, collegiates, and professionals, yes, we're bending our back to an extent and throwing our head back. Yes, that's a part of the jump and trying to properly execute it, right? But it's not needed. But we do that as it's a part of the technique. It's a part of the technique. But when you're talking about what's going to help you actually clear the bar, is not when you bend your back. That's not what it is. That's just a part of the technique that we go into. We don't want to arch. We want to create rotation. And rotation is created by what I described earlier. When we're leaning in the curve, we're staying away from the bar, and we're taking off in that position that's going to boom, rotate us around the bar. So for my athletes who are saying, well, I'm arching over the bar really good, I'm bending my back, I don't even think I can bend my back anymore. Or I'm pushing my hips up as far as I can push them, I can't push them anymore. Exactly, because there's limits to the human body, and you're not going to clear a bar based off of how flexible you think you are. I don't care if you did gymnastics, cheerleading, whatever you did. That did not make you a better high jumper. What's going to make you a better high jumper is understanding the physics of the event and understanding there are people who have jumped 240, 17 and a half with the flat back. And even the world record holder, Javier Sotomayor, he didn't even really bend his back when he jumped 8 feet, because it's not about bending your back. He made his hips the highest point by using approach mechanics and coming around, boom, in his position and taking it off and he was flat back as can be pretty much, but he was able to clear because of his rotation. And if you look at a jumper like Bogdan Bondarenko, no arch in his back, flat over the bar because he's getting his rotation. Right? But then when you go and look at high school meets and stuff, these people trying to jump 5'4" or 5'2" with all the bend in the back in the world, right? It's because they don't understand it yet. And there's nothing against if you're jumping 5'4", 5'2". Like I started my high jump journey, I was jumping 4'8", right? There's nothing against that, okay? But I had to put that out there to get you to understand when it's not about bending your back. It's about getting that rotation over that bar and being able to properly execute a jump. And it all starts with the approach, okay? So yeah, guys, just to give a quick recap of everything we just went through, we went over 4 different ways that could be causing you to hit the bar with your glutes and knock it down. So the first one was you're kicking your legs too quickly, which is also making you drop your butt. So in order to fix that, we not only have to learn how to hold that position and kick our legs at the same time, we also have to get the timing down and make sure we're not kicking until we're past the bar. And a drill you can use to do that is the back over. Next, so you have no rotation and your lower half is down when you're jumping the bar. So you're kind of jumping in the sideways position like this, trying to clear the bar and kick your legs at the end. Right? And it's not working because your glutes are still down. And we talked about we want to generate rotation. So we got to learn how to lean in the curve. A good drill you can do with that is the circle run. So practice the circle run in circles, right? In your approach direction. You can also do the opposite to balance out, but most importantly, approach direction. And we also talked about coming down on top of the bar, getting plenty height on top of it, but just coming down right on top of it, glutes knocking it down. So we have to get past the bar. We have to learn how to maintain our speed through the approach and get through the bar. We got to maintain our speed and get through the bar. Okay? And also, finally, you are focusing on arching instead of rotation. Once again, you have to understand the event. It is about rotation. It is not about arching, right? So one way you can do this is, like I said, leaning in the curve and focus on trying to attack and rotate over the bar. But yes, guys, that's how you stop your glutes from coming down on the bar, stopping your glutes from hitting the bar. If you need more help with this, definitely DM me on Instagram at Dontavius Hill. But thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And yeah, we out of there.